All right, we are live. David, how you doing? 1 second. I'm going to get us going on Instagram.
Sounds good.
All right, David Griffiths, how are you doing, my friend? It's good to see you again.
It's a beautiful day. I'm enjoying some sunshine and abnormally warm weather, both here in Texas and where I was yesterday in Denver. So I'm feeling good.
Very good, very good. So let me quickly introduce you. I'll go through your bio real quick and then we'll hop into the story that I know I want to hear, and I'm sure a lot of people want to hear it as well. So we're going to go through your bio real quick. David Griffiths, known online as David the Digital Creator, is a faith-based influencer, musician, and I can verify that, and business coach with over 1.5 million followers across social media. He's the co-founder of Biz Greenhouse and founder of the Content Creating Academy, where he helps entrepreneurs and ministries simplify social media and monetize their message through faith-driven strategies. David combines prayer, personal development, and proven digital systems to empower purpose-driven creators to thrive online. His mission is to help 100,000 people use their gifts for God's glory while building profitable, sustainable businesses. David, how are you doing today, my friend? Happy Friday to you.
Thank you, my friend. And thank you for the privilege of you sharing your platform with me. I am very grateful. I actually recently was listening to you talk about some events that you did, some marketing things. And I went, wow, I need to pick his brain. I mean, I need to learn from him. So it's a privilege to be here.
Very cool. So, for those folks that are tuning in today and have tuned into previous episodes of Fresh Start Fridays, you know that in recent episodes we've heard from other folks from the podcasting community. Also, we've mentioned names like Empowered Podcasting Conference, right? And that's actually where David and I first connected. David was one of the featured speakers at EPC, Empowered Podcasting Conference, and I had the privilege of emceeing for him. So when I said that I can certainly validate his musician skills, David let us in. A hymn right from the stage while you were doing your presentation, which was very inspiring, by the way. So
Thank you.
great to connect with you in person at EPC and then welcome you to Fresh Start Fridays, where we talk about resilience and rebuilding. And I know that you've got a very powerful story for us. So why don't David, why don't I set the stage and then we'll let you kind of take it from there.
Okay.
So, you had said that there was a time, and I don't remember if you gave me the exact dates, but it was a time when you were going through one of the hardest moments of your life. A marriage was ending, you were fighting depression, and you also found yourself like basically seeing the world, your world unraveling before your eyes. You'd been posting on social media for a while, not seeing great results, and then something happened. But before we get into the something happening, like how long ago was this that all of this took place when, things were really in one of the darker moments?
About the time of the pandemic.
Okay.
So I
All
guess
right.
is that about 5 years ago? Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
paint the picture for us. You're in this dark time. What's going on? What tell us a little bit about?
So perhaps someone who's been in a dark season can relate to this.
Mhm.
It seems odd now for me to say this, but have you ever gotten to a point where you go, I like the life that I create when I'm dreaming.
Mhm.
It seems too much work to try to make it similar or comparable in real life.
Mhm.
Why don't I just spend more time in my dream world?
Mhm.
Literally, I felt like the things that I thought were central to my life and my value, my faith in God, my family, my marriage, my musical gifting. I felt like what I understood about all of those was incorrect. And so when my marriage is ending, I'm confused. I'm not sure exactly what to do with that. And then I was making music. I had a gospel recording group called the Praise and Worship Experience. My lead singer
Mm-hmm.
was my wife at that time. And so
Okay.
it had a lot of ramifications. It's like, man.
Yeah.
So we we had done a live recording, and then I had found someone, a benefactor, to pay for the release of my songbook. So I released a collection of worship songs. And now it's time to start touring, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I did one other event, my home church, Sligo Seventh Adventist Church, and then I stopped because I could not see myself singing, worshiping, praising when I didn't understand the adversity and the darkness that I was going through. And I certainly didn't want to be a hypocrite. And so I stopped.
Okay.
And so there was a period of several years where I wasn't out singing, I wasn't out sharing. And so it's at that time when the pandemic started that a dear friend of mine, Jeff, who I went to high school with, he decided to do something to bring together. We couldn't go anywhere, right? So he decided to do something called Dudes Chat, where he would create a Zoom and invite guys that we went to high school with, and where we would just encourage one another and hang out.
Okay.
And it was at that time that I had an opportunity to stop focusing in on how I felt about me and the discouragement in my life, and actually think about, oh, well, what's left, can it still be a blessing to someone else?
Okay. And then are we getting into some, I'm kind of like looking at your notes too. Was that wasn't the request, right? That lit the spark? Because that was some, oh, that was the request?
Yeah. So that was the request. So in 2012, I did my live recording. And so the pandemic now is several years after that. But I'm setting the stage as from that point on, it went dark for a number of years, right? Where I'm not out touring. I'm not like I'm connecting, doing a meet and greet in Dallas tomorrow night. I wasn't out doing stuff like that. I wasn't out doing concerts because I was depressed and I didn't understand why life wasn't working out for me.
Gotcha. Okay. And then what started to change for you? Like, how did you, what were some things that you did to kind of lift yourself back up out of that depressive state?
Well, that story that you mentioned, is it all right if I pivot to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So this is what I'll say. If there's someone listening who's really discouraged, maybe you thought you wanted to be an entrepreneur, you wanted to share some value that you have, and then you learned a little bit and you started doing it, and it didn't jump off like they said on the infomercial, right?
Like the infomercial, 5 steps to hundreds of thousands of fans, and people will be falling from the sky. They'll be knocking down the doors to be your client. You'll be making millions in 6 weeks. Those infomercials?
Yeah. Yeah. As someone who spent over 6 figures trying to understand how to do which we do online, I've been in a few webinars and purchased a few communities and courses and mastermind experiences. And yes, it's not often as depicted, and people don't tell you about what requires resilience, as you mentioned, right? In these broadcasts. And so my friend Jeff that I mentioned, he had this Zoom, and one of our friends, Kevin, his mom just died. And so he said, "Hey, David, would you be willing to sing a hymn every morning to help me get through the loss of my mom?" And when he asked that question, it wasn't just Kevin asking me that and me thinking about that, but it was really a moment of reflection. Like, I felt as though God was saying, "So are you going to start helping people with the gifts I gave you instead of sitting there feeling sorry for yourself.
Okay.
And so that's the thing that I would say to someone. When you feel overwhelmed, when you feel that your pain will never end, think about, what do I have that I can share with someone else to help them? To me, that is the catalyst for the transformation. And literally, if you keep focusing, I really believe, wow, I, from the bottom of my heart, believe that literally your focus determines your feelings and your focus determines your faith, right? So let me tell you what I mean. This trip is a great example. There was a point where I thought, I don't want to go on this trip. I mean, it's money that I don't have. And, you know, I don't want to get further in the hole in debt, you know. But then I listened to one of my mentors, and she started describing things that started me thinking, instead of like, why can't I? How can I? How can I? The paradigm shift then caused me to, by asking different questions, to start coming up with solutions, so that in a couple of days, things were drastically different. And I think what happens to most of us is that when we get down and we focus on ourselves and on what's not working, our feelings go down the tubes. Whereas if we could, for a moment, think about what we do have, what is possible, who can I help? What do I know? What successes have I had? And if we just start focusing on that, then at that point, we're able to start building some momentum in the right direction, in the positive direction. And so suddenly, I'm able to sing a song in the morning on Facebook to help Kevin grieving from the loss of his mother. But that in turn gets me thinking, well, Kevin's going to find it, but no one else will, because on Facebook, I'd have to pay advertising to reach other people. Is there a way that I could share what I'm sharing for Kevin with others, and so more people could feel better? And certainly, I did some research, found Gary Vaynerchuk, and he said the best place for organic growth on social media at the time was TikTok.
Okay.
I thought TikTok was for girls who like to dance. I'm thinking that's for me. I don't have to dance. So I realized that Gary Vee had something that I don't have. So I said, all right, I'm going to get a coach, and I'm going to do whatever that coach tells me to do, because I want something different than I have now. And that was the beginning of the transformation of my depression, as well as my social media experience.
Okay. And let me ask you this, because I'm sure there's some folks wondering it. I know I'm wondering it. Like, from the time Kevin had asked, hey, can you do me this solid? You know, can you sing me a hymn every morning? How long was it between you thinking, yeah, you know, I could do that, to, hey, I should do this on the public forum, right? Town Square, online America, and then saying, hey, wait, how can I make this even better and reach even more people? Like, take a single act of kindness and make sure it's amplified to be to benefit so many other people. Like, what was that period of time like? Just out of curiosity.
So literally, like, if we go play by play or blow by blow. All right, so the piano that we had at the time, that was out of tune. Right. And me just using, you know, what I had, you know, the phone I had. Okay, well, I knew the quality wasn't going to be that great. So I said, well, if I'm really serious about this, let me get the audio better. And, you know, so then I got a different camera, and then I bought a Zoom H4. I had used Zooms for recording in certain contexts. That it's really small, but it has an amazing sound. I used to have a recording studio, so a little bit of an audiophile, a little bit.
Okay.
So all of a sudden now I'm investing in a camera and a microphone, and then it gets better, and then I'm going, oh, well, how come other people aren't hearing? Oh, okay. So that's, like several people would comment and Kevin would say thank you, and some of the guys from Dudes Chat would chime in. But then I realized, okay, but growing the social media thing, how can I have an impact on other people? I realized that it wasn't growing. And I thought about it and I said, well, I'm not finding new people because new people aren't discovering this. It's not available to them. I had a friend who he and his wife made a commitment that they would invest 10% of their income to pay for promotions for their online music ministry. So I knew someone who was doing that, but I thought to myself, okay, but is there another way that doesn't require me to invest that much money to be discovered by new people? And so it was, like literally, maybe 2 weeks in, I've gotten the new equipment, and then I'm going, okay, let's figure out how we're going to be seen by new people. So it was maybe a month and change before I was on TikTok. I got myself a coach.
Okay.
And, I'm doing what they say. And at the same time, I was also minister of music at the church. A lot of churches were asking for musicians to submit special music. So they would hire you like, hey, can you do special music this week? And then so I ended up buying 2 other cameras. And then the person that I mentioned to you, Philip Carter, he said, hey, man, I'd love to have you on my broadcast, because he had a show. He said, but you got to do something with that piano.
Okay.
So I upgraded the piano as well.
Okay. So
that was maybe 6 months by the time that happened.
Okay. So making little tweaks, every day or every week, every month. And then I'm assuming you started to see those results finally starting to take shape, right? You traded in the old camera, you got better sound, you got a better piano, you're taking new opportunities to speak for this community, sing for that community. And all of a sudden things finally start clicking, right?
Yes, but I like how you're building this, because this is what I want to say. Like, everything that you mentioned is a factor,
Sure.
right? But so to be completely transparent, from the people that I observe who sell things online, they're not trying to create a complicated understanding for you, because they want you to feel something and then make a purchase, right? So it's all of those things. And when I got a coach, the coach said, hey, David, pick 8 to 10 topics that you're passionate about and create content about those different topics, and your audience will teach you what they want from you. So on TikTok, I tried singing, and I have a master's in vocal performance. I've performed in many places around the world, but they weren't, thousands of people weren't going, oh, David, I love your singing. So I said, this must not be the path forward. So I got, a couple hundred views and some comments. But then I try a trend, and as you know, the dancing trends weren't my thing. But different things weren't jumping off. And then one day I did something creative. I said, I'm hearing this long line at Chick-fil-A. And I said, why don't I just capture a little bit of this and then turn and go, what's so special about Chick-fil-A? And that was, I don't know, a 7-second video. That was the first video that went viral in a small sense. Like maybe I had 13,000 views in, a day or so, right? So then what I learned from that was, okay, this was a relatable thing, right? I didn't realize, but there was controversy at that time. Well, what is so special about Chick-fil-A? And they do have great customer service, but is it overhyped? And, there seemed to be some religious thing happening with it. So what's going on? And it just happened to be very relatable. Short, which is another thing my coach taught me. Learn how to make short content first, then learn how to make longer pieces of content, because it's harder to keep people's attention for a long time than a short time.
Absolutely.
And so I would learn by testing. And then the next thing that went viral was I would talk as if I were talking to me 5 years ago.
Okay.
So I would set up my phone and I'd say, hey, wait, I want to tell you something, and share about something, right? And this particular one, I said, don't quit. And then I shared for people from my feelings of what it's like to want to quit, why they shouldn't quit.
Okay.
And that's my first video that got over 1 million views.
Wow.
And I realized there are literally millions of people who are going through things like what I'm going through. And if I'll be real with them and give them even what I wish I had someone else give me, that will actually resonate and start opening doors and grow my presence online.
Okay. Very cool. And I know that you had talked about well, you just said that growth isn't about those tricks, right? It's about authenticity, empathy, and service. Tell us a little bit about, some of the other things that you do to really serve your audience, and you're speaking to them, speaking to the old you, the 5 years ago, giving that version of David what he would have needed, and that's helping you connect with this current audience that is in that same spot that you found yourself 5 years ago, right?
Yes. So let me give you a couple of the secret sauce things.
Okay.
So first of all, I thought to myself, community is really important to me in building it, and so techniques of doing that, either as a teacher or as a youth pastor in different spaces, I had used those skills, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do that here online. So I would do things like this. I would make a post where I would say, hey, online fam, I'm just trying to get to know my TikTok family. Let me ask you something. What's your favorite kind of food? I'll go first. I really love Korean food. My favorite dish is bibimbap. All right, what's yours? And those kinds of posts, and I did those regularly, those kinds of posts had a few people that responded, and it started showing me who my super fans were.
Okay.
We had this thing in common, and then I would say, oh, wow, cool. And I'd respond to them, right? Either I would say, oh, cool, I like that too. Or, oh, I've never tried that. Thank you for sharing. And by doing that on different topics, what's your favorite food, favorite song, what's your favorite color, different things like that, I started building micro, intimate connections with different parts of the smaller group that started becoming larger. And so what happens then, they want to share your stuff because they feel like, oh, David's my friend, because I am. Like I'm asking you questions sincerely because I want to know, and I'm responding to you, so you know it's not just a gimmick that I'm using. There are tricks that I'm not going to share with you right now because I don't believe in them, but even some that I saw my coach use. And I didn't want to use them because in reality, I realized it was like a trick and it wasn't sincere. And I do believe that when you really show up in sincerity, really wanting to help people, really prioritizing making an impact and giving value, when you start to meet people who can open other doors for you, they'll recognize that you're a giver, and they'll want you as part of their community. So I really found that techniques that were authentic and looking to actually build community, also actually responding, because what happens is at the beginning, it's easy to respond to everyone who comments. At the beginning, what you should be doing, honestly, is doing that on other people's posts because you don't have people, the algorithm isn't showing your stuff to a lot of people. But as you make the habit of, I'm actually going to spend some time every day, actually, in meaningful ways, commenting on posts, whether it's mine as I get more views, or if it's other people in my particular niche or subject of interest, that authentic connection starts building. It's like investing in your future.
Very cool.
Future social media.
And
sorry.
And no problem. And it is that time of the year, right? Having met you at EPC, I can certainly vouch for that authenticity of watching you speak and command the room. I won't say command the stage, because you actually spoke off the platform and you just kind of walked around, shaking people's hands and talking to them during your presentation, really bringing them in, wrapping them into your presentation and making it very personable for each of the attendees. And I know being in that room and kind of being off to the side, as the MC, and kind of watching the audience reaction, watching how you communicated with them, watching how you connected with them, and then watching their response to it was a very organic way of connecting and building that relationship while you were delivering the presentation. So just hearing you talk about taking that in-person strategy to online of commenting, making a connection, absolutely. So I certainly appreciate that. And like I said, can validate what you're saying because I've seen it in action.
Thank you. I really love people deeply, and I really desire to give people help. And sometimes it's frustrating because you see people take advantage of our natural human psychology and do some tricks. And having gone through various programs, you see that many times people, once they learn the tricks, they then just focus in on maximizing revenue. And I never want to be that person. But I'll say that I really believe life is so much more enjoyable when you pursue the impact and the authentic connection. So I was last night, as we were having conversation in Denver with my good friend Jeff Vargas and his son, and my business partner Danny Williams, Coach Danny. I said to them, because Jeff was asking, like, okay, so how often do you get messages from people, having over 1.5 million followers, them either thanking you or asking for advice? And I told him, I said, I literally had just gotten a message from someone who said, and this blew me away. She said, "Oh, I wish I had known earlier that you're coming to Dallas. I live 2 hours away, but I can take the train 2 hours to come. It's just I don't know how I get from the train station to the place where you're having the event." And I'm going, "You're gonna travel 2 hours to see me? What's that about? Like, it's crazy." But what happens is when you speak from the heart as you're sharing, you don't realize that you're actually connected with people on a deeper level to the point where they would actually go out of their way to help you or connect with you. And one other situation, someone from New Mexico went on a trip to New York, and then they sent me a message, "Hey, my girlfriend and I have been following you in your in prayers. We wanted to know, can we come and meet you maybe at your church?" And I was going, "Okay, I'm minister of music at a church in Maryland at Glen Burnie." "Oh, that's okay. We'll drive down from New York."
That's a trip.
"Oh, okay. So you're gonna drive down from New York just to come hang out with?" But I realized people really are starving for authentic connection. And once you get that, I think that's one of the things that people miss on the social media game, is that when you look for that, like, I'll be honest with you, the Empowering Podcasting Conference community, that's exciting to me. Like, for real, because I can tell you that the community cares about one another. Like, and what I do, whether as a professional musician or other situations, I get to meet some people who are well known, but to see people who are committed to what they're doing, good at what they're doing, and they care about helping one another. I saw people just, someone's like, "Hey, I don't know how to do this," and then I remember one of the people at the conference saying, "Hey, go get your computer. I'll show you how to do it." And I was like, "Wow, these people aren't gatekeeping." And then the gentleman, I believe he spoke two people before me. He broke down the game of how to get brand deals. I was like,
George.
Yeah,
Lloyd George. Yeah.
I was like, this is amazing. And so, we met at breakfast. We had a conversation. He's like, "Hey, I'm having this event in Atlanta. More than welcome to come." I went. I made connections. People weren't gatekeeping. People were literally offering support and help to one another. And I love Mark Ronick because he's that kind of person too. So don't feel like in order to be successful in online business or in social media that you just need to do magic tricks. You can be authentic and learn how to lead with truth, recognizing people's pain, yes, so people know that your stuff is for them, but aligning consistently your content to speak to their pain point and give value to them and let them know, yeah, this is a place where you'll find that what you need, and people will be loyal followers, and your star will rise.
Very cool. And thank you for the kind words toward EPC. I'll speak on behalf of Mark. We appreciate it. We certainly, grateful for you being a speaker and your endorsement now. So thank you. I'll be sure to let Mark know that you complimented him and the community that he's building and that we're all building together. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm inspired. I honestly am. I'm inspired because it's just nice to see. When I told people about Dudes Chat, that my friend Jeff was having the Zoom, and they were like, "Oh, like you all still stay in contact with your friends from high school?" I was like, "Yeah." You know what I mean? Like it seemed like weird. Like, "Oh no, we all grow up. We get too big for that, and then we get our new friends." No, it was great, and he told me, I didn't realize it went on that long. It went on for 77 weeks. That Dudes Chat. People are craving for spaces of authentic connection, and so why not? Even as you're, sharing value related to an offer that you have in a way that you want to share business-wise, but let it be a place that thinks about solving the problem for someone. And if you were the person who had the problem that needed solving, what kind of support and community would you want around that? So it's great content. Podcasts do the same kinds of things. And so if you keep that mindset, whether you're creating content for YouTube, going live like what we're doing, or creating short form content on TikTok, Instagram, you'll do more than just grow a following. You'll build a community.
Very cool. And that's one of the things that you teach with Content Creating Academy, right?
Absolutely. Content Creating Academy, I thought to myself, why did God bless me with all these followers? And I thought, well, maybe I'm supposed to teach other people who want to, in like manner, serve people with their talents, how to do what I did. And so I've learned, one, most people don't want to do what's necessary to have 1 million followers.
Okay.
But two, one of my mentors, she from the UK, she only had a few thousand followers, and I attended one of her intensives, and she said, "Yeah, I'm getting ready to go to Florida. I got a 2 Comma Club award that I have to go receive." And I'm like, "Oh, that means you sold over $1 million for one follow. Oh my God. How'd you do that and you only have a few thousand followers?" Well, there's more to it than meets the eye. But I think that in Content Creating Academy, I want people to understand strategically how to get the following for the way in which they wish to serve, and to know it's not just about going viral. There was a song from our overhearing some things that you said. I think you might have a lot of musical knowledge in your background. Do you remember the song by To the Extreme, More Than Words Can Say?
What was the song again?
More Than Words Can Say by To the Extreme.
I might know it to hear it. I'm not.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You probably would. There's just 2 guys and like acoustic guitar, and they were singing together, and they had long hair. And most of their music was like, heavy metal. But they had this one ballad, and it, I think it sold 7 million. It was this great hit. And you might think, oh, that's amazing. Well, actually, it wasn't amazing because, I'm grateful. I love the song, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what they did.
Okay.
So, right, if you discovered, oh, I love this song, let me go get their album, you'd be like, oh, where's the other ballads that talk about how you love someone more than words can say? And it wasn't there. So that's why it's so important for us to be consistent with what we create, and not, we create something that actually aligns with someone and not do that mistake. Because sometimes people want to go viral instead of serve the community that they have value for. And so you do tricks and this trend is going viral. And you get a video to go viral, but it doesn't lead to a follower. It doesn't lead to a client because it's not aligned. Yeah. I saw this beautiful young lady. I don't remember her name right now. And it's probably good because she probably wouldn't want me to say her name. But just this pretty young lady. And she had this thing where she would just start every video and I'll make up something different than what she actually said. Like, hey. And then she would try on different clothes and she was getting all these views, but she wasn't getting a lot of followers. Mm-hmm. And I wished that I could, enter the Zoom or the interview that she was on and go like, hey, do a call to action. Invite people to follow you and then tell them why they should follow you. Because she was getting all this virality, but not a lot of followers because she didn't have a clear understanding of how it works. So you have to let people know the value that you have for them. If it's a pain point that you soothe or solve, great. Just let them know that and let your content consistently align with that. Because otherwise, if you just chase being famous or virality, you'll end up not having an audience that you can serve or monetize.
Right on. And if you're looking to do this long term, like as a business, right, growing business, you're going to need to be serving those people on a regular basis. It's not just about being in the spotlight for a couple minutes, getting those 15 seconds of fame, because you can't take that to the bank, right? You're not going to be able to sustain yourself and thrive just with those views alone. So
absolutely. So one of my coaching clients, Ken Chen, Piano Mastery Academy, I'm really proud of him, and here's why. So when he started with me, he hadn't set up the business entities on social media. He just had like close to 1,000 followers on his Instagram, personal, and maybe something similar on YouTube and on Facebook. But as we started the business content, I didn't try to get him to do trends. I just wanted him to do what we just talked about. So he specifically is helping. Ken is Chinese, and he specifically is focusing in on Chinese mothers who want their children to learn piano in preparation potentially to study it, right? Professionally. And so he gives these tips because he went through this painful experience of he studied piano, and then when it was time for conservatory, he didn't have the appropriate training because he didn't have the foundation that he really needed because of the teachers that he ended up studying with. So then he had to study with some new teachers, and then he had to learn, learn new ways of doing things. And now he's amazing. Because of that, he has a passion to make sure that kids don't get taught incorrectly when they're young. So now, by his content being aligned to that particular focus, he may get 1,000, 1,500 views, but that's okay because since we started working, I think he's had $6,400 of clients come in. His content is aligned with who it is he has a heart for. He talks about their pain, he talks about solutions, and it's bringing him clients, helping him succeed.
Very good. Very good. So what can we look forward to from you for 2026? Any big plans? Any big speaking tours or anything that we can help you promote real quick?
So let me say this. You should the meet and greet that I'm doing tomorrow night is the first of many. So I will be doing those around the country.
Okay. And
internationally, apparently, because some of my followers who are not in this country expressed interest in that. and the thing that I really want to focus in on, because the answer is yes, I'm going to be doing a lot more speaking, but the focus is the Hope and Change Network. The Hope and Change Network.
Okay.
Phil Better at the conference, he said something as we were talking, and my friend Coach Danny, he filmed it. He said, "David, you are an agent of hope and change." But literally, he didn't realize, okay, hope is a passion that Danny has. He has something called Hope Stations, where he literally goes around the country passing around these wristbands that say, they have an acronym HOPE for hope, but then say the words, "Hold on, pain ends." And he literally goes out into parks or where he's at different places, and he passes these out to people and explains to them, hey, I don't do it good like he does, but he's like, hey, I just wanted to give this to you. In case you're going through a storm, I want you to know every storm eventually runs out of rain. I've never met one that doesn't. And just doing that, it's just opened the doors for him to help people and encourage people. So he's doing these Hope Stations, and then I have the Change podcast because I am obsessed with finding the techniques that actually help us change our behaviors. Whether you're wanting to lose weight, you wanting to get to become automatic in the habits associated with being a successful entrepreneur. So the Hope and Change Network is bringing together both of those, bringing message of hope with the strategies to change. And the network, we just launched it about 3 weeks ago, and I think close to 50 people. So that's the thing for 2026 to look out for.
Very cool.
People sitting near you, but having an online community.
Very cool. David, I appreciate this conversation. Thank you so much. So for our viewers that want to connect with David, so once again, we've been streaming on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. We're also going to put the replay on Facebook. In the show notes, I've got ways to connect with David across all channels. And in the event that you're watching the replay and maybe you had a question about something that David said, still drop it in those comments, and I'll make sure that we see it, that I bring it to David's attention, that he can address it. But certainly connect with him if you haven't already. On we've got the TikTok handle in there, Instagram, Facebook. I know you're on LinkedIn. I tagged you there. YouTube as well, tagged you over there. So certainly connect with him, be inspired, hear what he has to say. David, thank you so much for having this conversation with me, for just sharing your light and helping us out and being that beacon of light. I appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for your graciousness and allowing me this platform.
And enjoy the rest of your travels as well.
All right. Thank you so much.
You got it.